What's up, world? Today, I want to just give you a brief update on what's been going on this week in my trading. This week, I actually took my worst loss ever. I finished about negative $18,000 this week, which totally freaking sucks. Not the end of the world, but I just felt like the urge to make this video because there's a lot of powerful lessons that can be used that can hopefully help someone out there. The worst part about this loss is that the setup itself actually worked. It's staring right at you in front of the screen. IPDN, where this is one of my bread and butter setups, third day surge. But within this setup, I allowed myself to just get very, very undisciplined. And just rewind just a couple seconds. The bit my that negative 18,000 at the week, 15,000 of that loss came from this exact trade. So to think about that, just think about that in terms of life. Like one bad decision, one bad mistake can just completely ruin a whole week, right? So a week that maybe could have been a bit manageable, more like negative 3K, negative 4K, which in trading, like not all weeks will be green. That's inevitable. Some weeks you actually do lose money. But the fact is that one lack of discipline, one moment in time where you just let things slip can just completely ruin things, right? And luckily, like this is just negative 18,000. But as I continue to get bigger and bigger throughout my career, what if that turns into a 40,000 or $50,000 loss? And it just that lack of discipline in that moment in time, I just want to really hone in on, so I cannot do this same mistake again. And I just want to dive into this trade IPDN, right? So this trade right here is a typical, what I like to call third day surge setup. Um, we know it's a third day surge setup because it has this huge volume coming up on this second day. And then we have this in between day. And then this third day is the day I really like to play it, right? So coming back to this day where on the 9-3 where the move was actually made, but I want to go back in time and just see what led me to saying, hey, I really need to pay attention to this stock. And you can see in this day two move, right? If we go back to this day two action, we see this huge move coming from 7 to 9, and then we kind of consolidate and just base into that next day, right? So just to piggyback and actually just show you guys my mistakes, right? Um, a mistake that I really made was there are really only four places to ever buy a stock, right? And I'm gonna just give you the game, right? So there's prior day VWAP, prior day close, prior day low. Let me draw out prior day low. In this case, it wasn't prior day low. Prior day low, and then prior day high, which was prior day high would be right here in this case, right? So in this situation, we have prior day high, prior day VWAP, and prior day low. Prior day VWAP is symbolized by this little purple line right here, just in case anyone doesn't know. The white line is the prior day close, and this bottom line, can't even see it anymore, but you have to go back. That's prior day low. But you have to worry about prior day low. You want to focus in on which lines are the closest to the action, right? So up in the morning, we see that these lines, and you see that it's really bouncing and testing off of prior day high, right? And we get a test right here at 4:30 in the morning. We get that test at prior day high, and then we reclaim, and then we go. I'm always up at this time. Like at 4 a.m., I like to wake up early and begin to start my day. Mainly because I believe that. Wait a minute, it wasn't recording. mainly because I believe that waking up this early gives you access to the best prices. Like, you never know when the volume and stuff will really come in. You just want to just have access to the data and be able to enter and exit whenever you please. Um, my problem was I was buying this stock when it was extremely overextended. I was buying this stock right here in the 1140s, 1150s. And as this year's been going on, I've really been sizing up in my trades, trying to get bigger and better and better. Um, to go back just a little bit, just give me a brief second. So I've been on this run lately, right? So for the past 90 days or past 90 trading days, I didn't basically, let's say I'm almost topped out at $170,000, right, in the past 90 days. And these past week, pretty much that's when I got hit with 18K drawdown, which, I mean, there's ebbs and flows in trading and there's always losses. But one thing in trading that you can always and always bank on is that you can control your losses at every single time. You don't have to go into any specific day and say, "Hey, I have no decisions in how much I'm going to lose." There's always should be some sort of plan, some sort of decision in the terms of, "Hey, I'm going to lose this much on a day, and that's just going to be it." But what happens is, like, this setup is such, like, it's such a emphatic setup and something that I know that I should be making money on. That I kind of lost control. That damn, I'm not going to be able to make money in something that I really should be making money on. Like, you, when you're very passionate about something, you love something, like, you just, you go all in. And the fact that it was just an opportunity where, like, damn, like, this is potentially a place where I missed out on making 10, 20, maybe even possibly 30K on a specific trade. And I felt like I was owed something. I felt like I was due to make some sort of money. And what happened was I allowed myself to get in a headspace where it was just like, I just blanked out for just a moment, just a second, and just said, fuck my rules. And this is why you can never say that, bro. These rules are in place for you to, the rules are in place to help, right? So when you're in these moments and times where you having that human emotion of, damn, like, I'm missing out on money, feeling that FOMO, you have to have that discipline to be like, nope, I can't touch this. The number one rule is I always have to be managing my risk, and I can't be chasing these stocks. Like, these are the shittiest companies in the world. And yes, even though I can make a lot of money from them, I cannot allow myself to get undisciplined with my trading and my process. So when you look at my trade, if you look at my specific trade on there, let me go to trades and you see IPDN. I'm gonna pull up my little 1 minute chart. You could see that I was buying this stock at 1150, 1160, around this range, and then I got caught in that little back end halt, right? And it just became impossible to manage risk in this scenario. And it becomes harder and harder and harder to manage your risk when you keep buying these extended stocks. One thing to note and one thing to notice as well is that just some free game. On these specific setups, right, the third day surge setup, I know that these specifically can go like 20 to 30% from these key levels, right? So let's say you always want to plan out your trades, right? And I see that the previous day high is freaking 733. I've created a little calculator that just kind of shows me, where the numbers is at. Because that's really what you want to think about it like a game and say, like, hey, if it hit this certain price, it's going to be overextended. So that previous day high was 733. And I know this stock, it really starts to get extended at 952. Let's say 952 is that level. 950, let's say 953. Right? That's 30% from this little previous day high mark. So that puts you somewhere right around here. Right? Once it reaches that level, it's just like, bro, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you cannot be fucking buying this shit. It's just absolutely like destruction to yourself if you're buying that. It's completely undisciplined and completely against my character. And it's not just a small error. Like, it's a catastrophic error like that, and it should be treated as such. Like, this weekend, I just sat and I was pondering and thinking, just like, why did I make that mistake? And maybe it's because things have been going well. Maybe I did just need a reset, and everyone knows that there are peaks and valleys in life. But I felt like this specific mistake could have been so avoidable just because it came from the basics of my how I trade. There's literally only 4 levels to buy. Why are you buying that high? When you buy that high, you get clapped. Like, as simple as that. You expose yourself to these massive losses, and the risk reward becomes just totally construed when you're doing this type of L's. When you take that type of L. So what am I gonna do going forward, right? Obviously, nothing in my playbook has to change, right? So my stock selection is okay. I'm identifying these are the right stocks to be in every single day. This is what I need to do. These are the levels, the zones. It just comes down to committing every single day and just setting my risk up and just saying, hey, this is my specific risk. I can only buy towards these levels if these are the lines. If I want to risk deep, then I risk like the deeper line. For this example, I would have risked prior day close. But just sticking to your plan, waking up early, and just being able to enter these stocks when you see all of the levels and all of the things line up, right? When these things line up, I have to be able to take a shot. Can't be waiting. Like, no matter if this type of action happens or not, just still be willing to take that shot. And the same thing kind of happened with earlier in the week with it was early last week with this example right here, INHD, right? And if we go back in time on this one, you can see that this one made the same type of pre-market move, right? And I'm going to draw my lines. Previous day VWAP. Got previous day's close right there. Previous day's high, I think it would be right there. And then previous day low wouldn't be needed again. So it's a very similar setup to what happened last week. I hope you guys can see this example and know what I'm talking about. But you see, we get this little pop in pre-market. Then you just need to take some type of starter size towards this level. And as it begins to work, it gets towards the later morning and actually at the open, you just keep adding more. You keep adding more as it confirms and it does not break your risk, right? So it's never in the point that it break over previous day close, right? So you could be taking these starters right at the previous day high, risk off a previous day close, and then just let it work, right? But it comes into the point where when you're buying these super extended stocks, when they're super extended and you're buying, you're just opening yourself to that downside risk. Like that 15K, it becomes a hole that I have to climb out of. And it's not like I can't climb out of the hole. It's not nothing that I haven't dealt with before, but it's just that mental lapse of like, it stops the progression that I was having. Like I was on a real nice flow. And the fact is that I have to recover the flow, take time to recover the flow, get back to the basics, and kind of reset instead of keeping that same motion and the same motion that I had before. But anyway, this is my little rant. Hopefully you got some value out of it. If you did get some value out of it, please share the video and hopefully it can help someone out. All right, later.